Yeah, I mean, I always kind of describe it as Facebook for hotels, right? It's a operational, platform that looks and feels a lot like social media, and that allows for adoption really quickly.
All right, Scott, let's talk about Guest EQ.
Absolutely. Can't wait to talk about GuestEQ. My favorite things to do.
Well, you've taken a novel approach, and maybe this comes out of you're in Silicon Valley and your partner's out of Silicon Valley, and there's been a movement and workplace productivity there for years now, and we haven't quite seen it very effective in hotels, and the labor shortage continues. And there's we got to get some help somewhere. So there's a big push for automation. Read a lot about it, but why don't you tell us what exactly is Guest EQ?
Well, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think, there's been this, I'm in the hospitality industry. I'm also the COO of a hotel group, and create a GuestEQ to solve my own issues with my staff. The lack of communication, the lack of tools available that were specific to a hotel. I think at the beginning, before GuestEQ, we were simply trying to piece together like 5 or 6 things that could digitalize the operations of our hotel in a way that would make our employees happier, more effective at their jobs, and come all the way back to the guest at the end point, right? If you're doing a better job, if you're taking care of requests, things will be happier for the guests. You'll have more return guests and therefore more money. So we created GuestEQ along with my partner Ryan, who has a background in Silicon Valley, and so it's always funny to me to when we're talking about Silicon Valley, and he comes from from again a long line of companies that have been in Silicon Valley, and I show him some of the ways that the hospitality industry currently operates, and he just can't believe it, right? It's just we're stuck in a lot of ways into old paper forms, right? As we go into these hotels and we bring GuestEQ in, or checklists that are done by hand, it's kind of blows people away that are not inside the hospitality industry. And so that's what we did with GuestEQ, is just get a place where all of the operations of your hotel can be run through a digital platform that's built for hospitality, and it's built by a hospitality person.
Yeah, and I've talked to quite a few of your customers, and communication breakdown, number one problem. It just behind the scenes, it's so easy for things to fall through the cracks, get lost, whatever. And what you've created is really workplace chat for your staff that it also incorporates workflow for housekeeping and maintenance. So, like you said, it's all kind of right there, right? I mean, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of describe it as Facebook for hotels, right? It's a operational, platform that looks and feels a lot like social media, and that allows for adoption really quickly, right? I think you had mentioned at the very beginning a turnover issue in hospitality. We don't have that in my hospitality company. I have my longest GM has been there 7 years. We don't have those same turnovers because we're meeting them where they want to be, right? And we're treating them the way that they would, want to be treated, and so that they can effectively communicate. They're not getting screamed at by guests. They're not doing these things. So again, it's all the operational aspects of a hotel. Think maintenance, think housekeeping, think you can tie your restaurant into it. All done in a format that looks very similar to a social media platform. And the benefit of that is, in the old days of software, and believe me, I've ran hotels, I manage a bunch of hotels now. When you showed up to a general manager and said, "Hey, we have this new software platform," they would run, right? Because you're thinking 2 or 3 weeks of training. Who knows if they're really going to use it? Somebody's going to be, just constantly asking me questions. And so what we set out here to do is to say, we need this to be simple enough where we can train somebody to do this in 20 minutes. And that's every step along the way that we do, is to say 20 minutes, right? Everybody should be able to look at this and think, oh, I've posted on Twitter before. Oh, I've, read my own Facebook page, looked at Instagram, the pictures look the same. And so that's what we've done. We really created this platform where we're onboarding large hotel groups, with 20 minute trainings. And that's, it makes life much easier on everybody involved.
We've got a vision of Facebook for hotel operations, if you will,
Yep.
but drill down. What does that really mean? Like, what is actually happening? Because I think there's this communication breakdown that happens everywhere, and it's just inevitable. And okay, great, it's Facebook for hotels, but what are your people doing exactly?
So they're posting items, right? Like let's talk about what we call pass along items. They're just things that happen throughout the day. So think in your personal life, if you're on Facebook and you see something and you want to go post about it, we do that with hotel stuff. So hey, just a heads up for everybody in the hotel, guest in room 101 may come back by and be upset about something. Here's just a heads up. That way, if you're that next team member that's coming in, you now know about this guest. So when he comes walking up to you, and this happened in the morning, you already have an idea and can kind of be out in front of it. So you're kind of helping each other be on that side, but there's a feed that will put everything in it. So it shows, maintenance items, it shows housekeeping items, it shows whether they're in progress or not, it shows whether they're done. You can comment on these items, you can mention people in these items, again, just, like a typical social media field. But what that allows is directly from your phone, you can run your hotel, right? Just like you would, sit around and scroll through a Twitter feed. You're going to understand everything that's happening at your hotel for management. And for the team members, it's clearly keeping them in the loop of everything and allowing them to provide better service to the guests.
And it's building this little community in one hotel, but like with Renaissance, you've got like what, 12? You
Yep.
have a community of 12 hotels on this app.
One of the neatest things we've been able to do with these groups is to not only, even in my own hotel group prior to GuestEQ, every hotel was very siloed. Even though we have multiple Hilton properties, we have multiple Best Westerns, multiple IHGs, and so on and so on. And what I would find, overseeing all these hotels as a COO of the group, I would come in and see this happens at this hotel and this happens at this hotel and the same thing happens at this hotel. And so you would see how people were solving it. And one would have a great solution for it. The other one was like asking questions about this. And so you could just see this waste of time kind of going on. Said, well, why don't we open up all these chats so that you can communicate? We can take front office managers and connect them together. We can take night auditors and connect them together. Property management systems are one of the biggest issues that hoteliers have, right? Even though we're independently owned and operated, we're using a property management system that either a brand has, mandated to us or that has been chosen. And there's always issues with those things. Well, in order to solve a problem with that, you need to call an 800 number and you need to sit online for, 20 minutes or send an email and hope somebody responds to it within a day. We're now solving those problems internally. The night auditor at my hotel in Napa can easily ask a question, and then the other 5 night auditors can jump right in and help them in a real-time situation. And that's been amazing, right? We're solving our own problems. We don't have to depend on anybody else to solve those problems because we had all the people with the experience in-house. We just never had a way to connect them together.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from your staff, from your GMs?
I mean, I think the best feedback we get is, as I've kind of gone out and been around, and we've worked with new hotel companies through GuestEQ, but with my own is just seeing the lack of turnover we have, right? We don't have the issues that everybody else has at Renason Hotels. Again, I just looked through my new sales manager that we just hired to run our new sales department has been here 25 years. I have GMs that have been here over 20. Again, we're meeting them where they're at, right? They want to communicate. They want to have these. They don't want to make their job harder. They don't want to have to go rifle through their wall to look at a bunch of paper, stacks. They want to get that GuestEQ report in the morning that shows them exactly what happened at their hotel, who took care of it all, who's working for the day coming up. They get that at 6 a.m. every morning. They know what's going on. I think that's been one of the biggest feedbacks we've had from all our managers is to get that daily report. Just starts their day off in a much better way. So again, I think in general in the hospitality industry, we have a responsibility as owner operators to our teams to provide them with the tools to allow them to do their job. If you don't provide them with the tools, you're just going to continue to have the same issues I've always had, all the turnover that you've had, and there's nobody really to look at but yourself if you're not giving them the tools to do the job.
So this is a little different than other options. Like there's a lot of apps out there, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, describe how this is different than other places hotels could go.
I think the first thing that I have, and I forget what the actual number is, but I believe it's 90 or maybe 95% of those apps or other companies that are out there are created by somebody who's never stepped foot or worked in a hospitality space before. They may think they know how to solve our problems, but they really don't. Whereas GuestEQ, I've owned and operated hotels for 25 years, and I understand what those are. We take these out to our team at Renason, and we do all the testing with Renason first, so that our other members don't have to go through some of the hiccups that can come along with new features. But we're listening to what our hotels on GuestEQ are telling us. We're creating a preventative maintenance program right now that will be automated, right? Where you can have so many rooms assigned every week, and we'll tell the manager if they're not completed. It goes along with your QA. You can spit that right out, and that was all feedback directly from our hotels. This is great, we love all the digitalization of this, but we need something for our QA, and our team just goes to work on that and tries to figure it out. So I think that's the number one thing that makes us different. The second thing that makes us different, and I referenced earlier, is that it's easy, right? We get to these teams, we get so many emails and so many IMs through the system. There's a help button right on the thing that goes to all our team members, and a lot of the things that we get coming across there are, thank you for providing this to us, thank you, this has made my job so much easier. And so again, it's ease of use. It's something that looks the same way, that that they're already familiar with it, and it's just going to make everybody's life a lot easier at the hotel.
So to wrap up, and I just want to circle back, because I was very impressed with this, and I think it speaks volumes. But the Renason hotels using GuestEQ, their brand quality scores are astronomical. They're phenomenal. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things I'm most proud of. I mean, we have been able to put anywhere, depending on the brand, from 15 to 20 points on our guest medallia scores. My Holiday Inn was the top service hotel in the entire Holiday Inn brand. We have a Best Western that is ranked number 2 in service right now out of almost 2,500 hotels. It's won their top award, 𝘎𝘈𝘐𝘷𝘢𝘵 13 years in a row. So we have some properties. Our Hilton properties are in the top 5% of their SALT scores. It's amazing what happens when you provide people with the tools, right? There's some accountability to this as well. So that's one of the main things I hear is, the person that likes our service the least is the maintenance person, because there's so much coming in here and so much for them to now have to do, that they're complaining to their manager, hey, I haven't stopped working, or whatever this is on that side. And so that's what you want. You want to hear that, right? That all these things are getting in here, that everybody's communicating in the same way. And the format that we've set up here, it makes it really easy to be consistent. And when you're consistent, again, that's going to make for happier employees, happier guests. It's going to help your top line a ton.
Fantastic. Well, Scott, thanks for joining me, sir.
Appreciate it.